Just when you think you've seen it all, MotoE comes up with the goods again. Barcelona welcomed classics before, and this morning another one found itself in the history books. A change in the championship lead following the closest finish of the season. What lies in store for race 2? Coming up next in Barcelona in MotoE. $37,000 of a second. That's all that split Eric Granado and Lorenzo Baldassarri at the finish line as the Brazilian returned to winning ways after more than 2 years of waiting. However, whilst he took honours in the race, a third podium of the season rewarded Baldassarri with a championship lead despite not having won a race in his rookie season. 11 podium finishes, 6 winners, 13 points covering the top 5. The title race is very much alive. Kiko Giles here, Neil Morrison next to me up here in commentary, and down there, somewhere, Elliot York is getting ready to pounce in pit lane. Neil, race 1 was an absolute firecracker. Why expect anything else for race 2?
I completely agree, Kiko. We had 5 riders vying for victory in race 1. And judging by that, we should have something similar happen, maybe even 6 riders, because we had a dramatic crash for the then championship leader, Mattia Casadei, on the first lap. Maybe he can get his day back on track and rescue something from this weekend in race 2. It would add to the drama for sure. And could we see another race winner? You mentioned 6. There is one rider that is starting on the front row yet to win a race this year that could add his name to that roster as well.
There really is. There's a couple actually that could add their name there. Jordi Torres has not won this season. Lorenzo Baldassarri has been close, but so close yet so far in the case of the number 7. You can see that we are getting ready for MotoE race 2 here in Barcelona, and like earlier on in race 1, we do have a small change to the normal procedure here in MotoE. Just to be on the safe side, the riders have asked, and they have got a warm-up lap just to make sure there's enough heat in the front tyre here, the Michelin front tyre, a little bit fickle, and here in Barcelona, just to be on the safe side, particularly at points like turn 1, turn 2, turn 5, a warm-up lap may be the wise idea. So instead of 7 laps, we have 6, but that didn't dampen proceedings earlier on. It was Eric Granado who converted that pole position, and right on cue, he takes it up again in the evening sunshine that still beats down here in Montmello. A fine ride earlier on today.
Yeah, it really was. Eric Granado back to his very best, taking his first win of the season, and he really had to fight for it. A brilliant move at the first turn around the outside of Matteo Ferrari to seal the deal. It was definitely one of Eric's finest wins, and understandable that he got very emotional down in Parc Fermé, not just because he was speaking to Elliot York. He had great pleasure of that encounter, but also considering his injury comeback, which has been wrought with difficulty this year.
To be fair, speaking to Elliot York would explain the tears, at least for Eric Granado. Next to him on the front row is Lorenzo Baldassarri, P2 earlier on today, P2 on the front row and on the grid again for race 2. So close, Neil. Surely that victory's coming. Maybe this afternoon.
Yeah, you would have to say so. Baldassarri's been up on the podium 2 times previously, but not quite able to really show some aggression in the victory fight. He did that earlier today, passing Matteo Ferrari brilliantly on the final lap for second. And yeah, you have to imagine that victory is coming. Still yet to finish a MotoE race outside the top 6 this year.
Jordi Torres, well, that front row did not get converted for the number 81. Doesn't look like he's going to be adding his name to the winners list, but you just never know in MotoE. That's the glory of the whole thing. Third, though, for Jordi Torres, it is his home round as well. So we'll have to wait and see what Jordi Torres is able to do. Elliot's down on the grid. We promised you that he'd get some work done. El, what have you got?
Down here with Nicholas Spinelli. Nicholas, so close to that victory and podium in race 1. How are you feeling ahead of race 2?
Yeah, good race in the first one, but now I want to push for the take podium. We will see after how was the race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Nicholas Spinelli, of course, goes from the head of the third row of the grid. He was unlucky on the last lap earlier on today, Neil, in race one, exceeding track limits and therefore demoted back to fifth, but a top five ride nonetheless. Talking of top five rides, it was a top five qualifying for Matteo Ferrari. We saw Mattia Caste. We'll talk about him on the warm-up lap, I think, Neil. Let's keep up with the grid. Ferrari, top five for him on the grid, and back in that podium fight once again earlier on today.
Yeah, he started the final lap in race one in the lead, so he certainly was showing victory potential. Came through brilliantly in the early laps into the leading positions, and he'll be doing his utmost to repeat that in this race too. But Ferrari really is, along with well, maybe Granado, the four-man in this MotoE World Championship at the moment. He's been in the top four in each of the last 5 races.
This is Nicholas Spinelli, who we were on about earlier on, just ahead of him. And completing that second row, Alessandro Zacconi, who I hope has got his transponder sorted. It seemed like it was a late change for the transponder for Alessandro Zacconi, and because of that, that's why we had Zacconi all the way down in 13th and Luca Bernardi up inside the top 5. Here is the number 61 looking to try and convert that second row of the grid. Once again, he came good in race 1. Can he come good again in race 2?
Yeah, and you see, third in the championship, he's now just 8 points off Lorenzo Baldassarri. So Zacconi, the fact that he's been so consistent this year has really been paying off. He's not always been the most spectacular, but finished every race inside the top 7, bar 1 this year.
Quietly going about his business and getting those points on the board. We are going to be getting ready to move away very soon. The 3-minute board goes up. The BMW safety car pulls away and goes all the way down to turn 1. It's a long old drag towards turn 1, and these MotoE riders got their first taste of it this season earlier on today in race 1. That second row of the grid, we spoke about Nicholas Spinelli. Let's go to Kevin Zanoni. Zanoni was a firecracker of a starter, that is for sure, but he just couldn't get it quite over the line in the end, dropping back down through the field. He'll have learnt from that in race 1 and applying whatever changes are necessary for race 2. Here he is, the number 21 from the middle of that third row.
Yeah, Kevin Zanoni has good memories of this track. He took his first ever MotoE victory here 1 year ago, coming through from 8th on the grid, incidentally. Can he repeat that feat here? But yeah, you're right, Kiko. He did have a brilliant start, was second at the end of lap 1, but just didn't have the pace to go with the lead quintet. So let's see if some of the changes that he's made over the hours since race 1 can pay off.
And let's keep an eye on this rider as well, the number 12, Jacopo Hosiuk. Very, very strong indeed throughout the last couple of weekends. 9th for the second weekend in a row on the grid. So keep an eye on the Romanian. He's slowly but surely making waves. Just off of that as well, Hector Garzo in 10th place on the grid. He's going to have to come through again ahead of Oscar Gutierrez. And Andrea Mantovani, 5th in the championship, somehow is still only 13 points off the title lead. This is Garzo, number 1, needing redemption this afternoon, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. He came through to 7th in race 1, but he was somewhat fortuitous in that a couple of riders crashed out or had incidents ahead of him. And we did see Garzo make really good progress in race 2 in Hungary 2 weeks ago, so perhaps he can repeat that feat here. But yeah, you would be pretty surprised if the reigning champ is up there in the podium fight.
Eric Granado goes from pole. Will he convert it again? MotoE, the Monster Energy Grand Prix of Catalonia, the second race on today's billing. Eric Granado goes from pole, as we've said. Lorenzo Baldassarri joins him on that front row, and then it is Jordi Torres. We've gone through the opening 10 or so riders. Let's just complete that 4th row for you. Gutierrez, 11th, got to come through again. Mantovani, as we've said, is already 5th in the championship and is still within a race win's worth of points to come on through. Keep an eye on Tibor Eric Varga going from ahead of the 5th row. He was in the top 10 fights earlier, and you get the feeling that a good start from the Hungarian might well just propel him to bigger things for race 2. Alessio Finello was a crasher earlier on. Luca Bernardi in 15th place had his transponder swapped as well for Alessandro Zacconi, so hopefully Bernardi can actually be up inside those top 5 places. Tommaso Occhi and Raffaele Fusco scoring points earlier on today. In 16th and 17th place, though, on the grid, they'll have to come through again. As you can see, the grid graphic there just disguising the fact that we are underway for our warm-up lap here. Elliot York, down to you for some news and, of course, your prediction.
Just some observations I saw on the grid. Casadei was properly in the zone. Obviously, I'm on the grid for all the races, and he was crouched behind his motorcycle, visualising for a good 3 or 4 minutes. That is a rider who knows the pressure is on and needs a result in this second race. So just a little observation. I don't see him always doing that, and obviously after crash in race 1, then the pressure is a little bit on Casadei's shoulders to try and gain that championship lead back. Predictions, I'm going to stick with my prediction in race 1 and go Lorenzo Baldassarri to finally get that race win. It's coming.
It is coming, isn't it, Al? And I would almost back you up on that, but I'm going to defer to Neil Morrison alongside me, our expert up here in the MotoE comms box, for his pick for race 2.
We're in a scary position, Kiko, if you're referring to me as the expert
well, it
in this
definitely ain't
commentary box.
over here.
Well, I'll go with Matteo Ferrari. I tipped him for success in race 1. He came within a lap of doing it, and I think the Italian might have even more of a say in this one.
I think we're going to have redemption in red for Mattia Casadei. When Elliot was saying about visualising, of course, a lot of these riders do visualise the racetrack. They all know Barcelona pretty well. The problem is that this will be really the first time today that Mattia Casadei, if he gets to the end of the first lap, actually goes racing round here in Barcelona. He is at a big disadvantage, but we've seen before that Casadei can make the difference when he needs to.
Yeah, exactly. He has made 3 big mistakes, all of his own doing, in this championship so far this year. He certainly has the speed to be champion, but the consistency is not yet there. You can see he's now 6 points adrift off Lorenzo Baldassarri, and getting a clean run through the first chicane, I feel, will be key. If he emerges from the first chicane inside the top 3 or 4, then I expect to see him in the victory fight.
The championship as it stands then, as we hurtle towards the 10th race of the season. Baldassarri 122, Casadei 116, Zacconi 114. He's tied on points further back. That's your top 3. Let's see who can make it work here for race 2 in MotoE. The red lights are on, and when they go out, we go green, and we have gone green. And it is Eric Granado who tries to come across on Lorenzo Baldassarri instantly, but Balda has got the wheels in motion. The number 7 is rocking and rolling all the way down towards turn 1. Keep an eye on Nicola Spinelli, who's coming through from the 3rd run of the grid. The 29 has come from 7th. Granado is being squeezed on the apex at turn 2, but they all come through. Spinelli from 7th up to 1st. A lightning getaway from the number 29 Riva Sniper's machine to lead the pack through turn 3. Baldassarri 2nd again, like he was off the grid. Always looking on the inside to try and take over at the front. It does, and look at the domino effect there. Oh, pile up. That's Mantovani. Mantovani, and is that Timur Eric Varga, the 2nd of the Riva Sniper's machines? I think it was. Down and out at turn 4. Through turn 5 safely. It is Baldassarri who leads, and that is a very unhappy Andrea Mantovani. I don't speak Italian, but you don't need to. Those hand gestures saying it all, Neil.
Yeah, Mantovani falling away from the championship picture with another crash, another tough weekend here at Barcelona following on from the previous 2, but it was a brilliant start from Spinelli to get up inside the top 2 positions. Ferrari got away well as well. He's gained a place, and look at Casadei, who's looking in the mix, but Spinelli is looking to make a play at the front. He's up into the lead at turn 10.
Oh, it was bobbling all over the place though, and he does run a little bit wide, and through comes Balda. So Baldassarri back at the front at turn 12 they come. This is Spinelli in 2nd, then it is Granado 3rd. 4th for Ferrari. Casadei has dropped a place, but is still in the top 5 in 5th. Zanoni up to 6th. Torres back down to 7th. Hosjuk 8th. Garza up inside the top 9 in 9th. And Zacconi has dropped down again. And this time I think he actually has dropped down. Not like the transponder issue in race 1. He's down to 10th. We come across the line. 1 lap done. 5 to go. And Spinelli is looking to try and bounce straight back. They hug the grass down the front straight. Spinelli is 4 abreast against Granado. Balda's back in 4th, it looks like. But on the brakes, Matteo Ferrari trying to slot it through, and does, because Granado has gone wide and back to 3rd and all the way back to 4th. It's chopping and changing faster than even I can speak up here in commentary.
That is saying something as well, Kiko. Granado is in super hot into turn 1, really have to scrub off some speed in the turn 1 right-hander, and then that really cost him through turn 2. He's back to 4th position from 1st. Casadei, you have to say, is just building himself into this contest. They have to be nice and careful around here. They're still retrieving Andrea Mantovani's machine machine in the gravel trap there at turn 4. Thankfully, it looked as though everyone was paying their respects to that yellow flag.
The Mantovani bike there was, and also Tibor Eric Vargas was just being wheeled out of shot. The bikes need a special kind of recovery system sometimes, but not this time. Looks like they were just struggling to pick up. It's a very heavy piece of machinery, these MotoE bikes, so the marshals just taking their time a little bit here, but it looks like it'll all be under control, and the yellow flags remain out in sector 2. We run out to the green for some riders on the exit of turn 9. Now let's take stock and take a deep breath. After Eric Granado has completed his move for P3 and he gets it done down at turn 10, but it is Ferrari, Spinelli, race 1 winner Granado, Baldassarri and Casadei your front 5. We've got Zanoni just in behind him, a small gap. Then it's Torres, Hosyuk, Zacconi, and Finello is at the back of this. So Alessio Finello looking to try and make up for his race 1 error and bounce back in race 2 with a top 10. But he's not in this lead group. It is an 18-wheeler at the front with the front 9 riders. But look at Matteo Ferrari starting to break away, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. You feel that Eric Granado made that move, that aggressive move on turn 10 on Lorenzo Baldassarri, because you could see Ferrari just edge and clear, and indeed it is a fastest lap of the race from the Italian, the number 11. He was 0.6 of a second faster than anyone else that time around, and you can see Granado continuing to respond. A nice, neat move on Spinelli for second at turn 1.
How many times have we seen this, Neil, that when Matteo Ferrari hits the front, that clear air is what he likes to race in the most. He's not necessarily the most combative rider, but he is comfortable and is happy to lead the race from the front. That sounds like a bit of a silly sentence, but in terms of taking control and commanding things at the front, Matteo Ferrari, that's his style. Granado knows that, and that is why the Brazilian has fought his way back into P2. Third place at the moment for Spinelli. Oh, someone's gone out of shot, and that is one of the Aspar bikes. It's Jordi Torres out of his home round. Jordi Torres had just moved up into 6th place as well. A total disaster for the rider from Ruby, just up the road here from Montmello, and that is not going to be a happy local. He gets a round of applause, but that is a consolation for what has been a miserable race day.
Yeah, that is a real shame for Jordi Torres. His championship fell apart at that very corner 2 years ago here in 2023. The same has happened again. Unfortunate stuff for the Catalan riders. So that means we have a battle of 5, just as we did in race 1, and this time it is Matteo Ferrari leading the way. You can see that Eric Granado is really trying to get his hooks in to the Italian up ahead. It was nearly 0.4 of a second that Ferrari had in hand at the start of this lap. It has been cut down, nearly halved. You can see, in fact, it's more than that. Granado is right on the back of Ferrari as they pitch into turn 14 on this third lap. And it looks as though these two are breaking clear of the 3 behind.
Half race distance as they come across the line. Fastest lap from Eric Granado in 2nd place, and he's going to be picking up a little bit of slipstream here, and this is a long old front straight. If he can let the brakes off, Eric Granado might just have a little opportunity at turn 1. Can't get it done. Balda's in deep. Balda has gone in a bit deep. Does he gather it up? Not in time to hold off Spinelli. So Spinelli up to 3rd, and where is Lorenzo Baldassarri going? He's riding a berm on the exit at turn 2. So Balda 3rd back to 5th. Casadei moves through to take 4th place. These front 5 have got about, what, a second or so over the Romanian rider Jacopo Hosyuk. We said keep an eye on him. He's doing fine in 6th. Balda back momentarily into 4th, but this is going to rock on until turn 5. You get the feeling Casadei trying to push him out, but Balda's a wise old fox, slips it through down the inside at turn 5. Nice neat block pass, and that's P4 for the number 7.
Yeah, wise old fox, but maybe not the wisest of moves there from Lorenzo Baldassarri. Really messy start to this lap 4, and that has just given Nicola Spinelli a nice little bit of breathing space in 3rd. Spinelli doing all he can to try and hold on to Eric Granado, who is edging ever closer to the leader.
Eric Granado is getting closer to Matteo Ferrari, who at the moment, can you believe it, if you put the flag out now, we have a joint championship lead. After 10 races, it would be split by nothing. Matteo Ferrari would be your championship leader. Lorenzo Baldassarri, because he hasn't won a race yet, would be the rider he's tied with. We're just at the moment there for Nicola Spinelli coming through turn 11. A little bit of a tank slapper, but he gathered it up nicely. Matteo Casadei, fine ride in 5th at the moment, and he needs to take the points from this one. He'd be 3rd in the standings if you put the flag out now. And Alessandro Zacconi is continuing to fade. He's back in 7th at the moment. I said keep an eye on Jacopo Hosyuk. He's going to be keeping an eye on his dashboard. He's got a track limits warning. So 2 laps to go, Neil. It's all kicking off in MotoE as we go down towards turn 1 again. This time does Eric Granado want an opportunity to hit the front? Yes, he does. He lets the brakes off, lets it roll through in the braking area, gets it down to the apex works, and Eric Granado is looking on for a double here, but Matteo Ferrari's not going to take that line down.
Yeah, he most certainly is not. You didn't see Matteo Ferrari fighting too hard to try and keep the lead. You rather feel he was content to let Granado take over at the front and see maybe what the Brazilian can do up ahead of him, try and work out a bit of a plan for the last lap with 2 laps remaining. Granado has done a brilliant job to recover from that moment at turn 1 and retake the lead. He certainly has been the fastest MotoE name here so far this weekend. I wonder if Ferrari can muster something of a response. Baldassarri has lost out in that fight for 4th position with Casadei, and Casadei is actually edging towards Spinelli. If Casadei could get a 3rd place here, that would actually be a decent salvage job after what was looking like a pretty difficult situation a while ago.
It really would, and if he can take that 3rd place, then we would have 3 riders covered by the narrowest of margins in the title race. Less than 5 points would cover the top 3 if it stays as is. Eric Granado, defensive line down towards turn 10, maybe trying to sucker Matteo Ferrari into some kind of error, but Ferrari is a bit too wise for any of that. Oh no, he isn't!
It is!
It is! It is Matteo Ferrari! Just as I was saying he's too wise, he has proven me to be absolutely incorrect. Matteo Ferrari has been suckered into the mistake. I thought that Eric Granado was trying to come across his braking zone, and he's just lost the front. Matteo Ferrari, well, just as I said in the intro, when you think you have seen it all, MotoE, as we go on to the last lap of what is going to be another bag of surprises, I'm sure, delivers again. Unbelievable. Back to the action. Granado now has 3/4 of a second, more or less, over Nicolas Spinelli. It seems like this is a battle for the podium spots now, Neil. Spinelli 2nd, Balda 3rd, but he is waging war with Mattia Casadei. They are still at it.
Yeah, exactly. And Alessandro Zacconi has just been given a long lap penalty. I think that's because he has exceeded track limits 1 too many times in this 6-lap race. You can see there that Baldassarri's been so strong into turn 4 all race long. He was having a look at the inside of Spinelli just there. But what an opportunity this is for not only Eric Granado, who has, 7/10 of a second in hand to win his 2nd race of the day, but also Lorenzo Baldassarri, who looks as though he can put some clear distance into his rivals in the championship.
Eric Granado.
And Baldassarri's been...
Was that a long lap? It is. It's a long lap, and he's missed the long lap, obviously, Neil, because we're on the last lap. That's going to be a time. That's going to be a time penalty, and likewise for Alessandro Zacconi. So your riders in 3rd and 5th are going to be handed a time penalty here in Barcelona. We said about a bag of surprises on the last lap, and what on earth is going on? We have had it in abundance. Down towards turn 10, the last real overtaking opportunity. I hope Eric Granado knows that he's got a bit of margin to play with here as they come through turn 12. Nicolas Spinelli is holding off Lorenzo Baldassarri. It's going to be like that. Mattia Casadei, I just wonder, is he going to have a lunge that is not necessary? Down into the last corner, he's thinking about it, but he doesn't need to and doesn't do so. Anyway, Eric Granado came into this round so far out of title contention, but he's doubled up in Barcelona, and Eric Granado is your man of the meeting. It has been a fine Saturday for the Brazilian, who has rocketed right back into championship contention. You are not witnessing the highlights of race 1. This is exactly what Eric Granado wanted to do. He has repeated his feat from earlier on today. Brazil back on top again. Spinelli 2nd, and in 3rd place, after the time penalty is applied for Lorenzo Baldassarri. Do not look at the graphic on the left-hand side of your screen. It should be Mattia Casadei, because Lorenzo Baldassarri has a long lap penalty due to exceeding track limits. Neil, 6 laps. Well, they took a lap off the MotoE races. It didn't fail to deliver in action. Just a quick word. Matteo Ferrari crashing out from P2. Unbelievable. 14th on the line, and he might as well slap his head, because that was a big drop of the ball from Matteo Ferrari, who was looking at being championship leader. He stays 5th.
Yeah, that is an absolute nightmare for the Italian, who was looking at 2nd place at worst. He was just having a look at Eric Granado down in towards turn 10. Granado just comes across his front, but at this point Ferrari looks to be completely in control, and well, that turn 10 can be so deceptive. We saw the MotoGP sprint race being decided with an incident there earlier on today. And so it has proved in MotoE as well. How costly will that prove at the end of the season for Matteo Ferrari, who was looking so good for the championship, and in the end will come away with just 2 points from this race.
Quite a lot of Grassini wear down there at turn 10, isn't there? Alex Marquez from MotoGP, not going to give any spoilers out, and Alessio Finello from earlier on in race 1 is now joined by Matteo Ferrari. Insufficient time to serve the long lap penalty. The long lap equivalent time is applied, 3 seconds for Balda's official race time. It drops him down to 6th.
Yeah, drops him down to 6th, drops Alessandro Zacconi down to 8th, which means the revised finishing order is Granado, Spinelli, Casadei, your top 3. Then Kevin Zanoni and Jacopo Hosiuk finish 4th and 5th. That's the best ever result for Hosiuk. Brilliant stuff for him. Baldassarri 6th. Then we have Garzo in 7th and Zacconi in 8th. So pretty costly, that mistake for Alessandro Zacconi. He was going to gain a couple of positions, well, 1 position, as a result of Baldassarri exceeding track limits, but he too was handed a 3-second penalty because he didn't have enough time to serve his long lap.
What a race, Neil. What a race. What a race. Where to start? It all kicked off, didn't it, on the first lap. And that's spare a thought for Andrea Mantovani as well. Because of all of the drama, Mantovani probably would have been a bit of a bigger beneficiary than what he's ended up being, because of course he didn't finish because he was taken out at turn 4 by an incident involving Tibor Eric Varga. But unbelievable stuff from the whole MotoE field. I cannot believe what we've seen. Eric Granado can barely believe it either. A perfect weekend of pole and 2 wins on Saturday. We are going to be getting ready very soon in Parc Ferme for the race winner, Eric Granado. You can see that Spinelli and Casadei are already in there. The LCRE team will be happy now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they shortened this race by 1 lap to give these guys a warm-up lap before the race started. I think it was also to spare us any more heart problems in that encounter, Kiko, because as you say, so much happened across those 6 laps. You mentioned Mantovani. I completely forgotten about that happening at the start of the race. A dramatic event in itself, but so many dramatic incidents followed that as well. Not least Eric Granado's brilliant comeback from a mistake down at turn 1, stranded and down in 4th. A brilliant comeback from him, and a double victory. It's the 3rd round in succession that a different rider has won the double in MotoE, and Granado, you know what, is making a bit of a late play for the championship. Now finds himself just 23 points off the summit. He could still do it.
It's absolutely remarkable, with 4 races still to go. Somehow Mattia Casadei and Lorenzo Baldassarri it is now who are tied on points for 132 each. 10 back Zacconi, who somehow, like Andrea Mantovani, is still in with a shout of this. Nicolas Spinelli has come to the fore now. He's in 4th and 5th for Matteo Ferrari. This is the last lap. Oh, hello. That's going to get, well, it probably won't matter too much.
I think that was the lap before.
I was going to say, I don't think that is the last lap, because Casadei was trying too hard.
And Baldassarri was ahead of Casadei on the last lap there. Yeah. So I think that was the lap prior to that, which that was probably the 3rd time in which Baldassarri would have exceeded track limits.
Exactly. I think what we were seeing there is not so much to look at Mattia Casadei, it was more to look at Lorenzo Baldassarri. But the LCRE team, everyone is very happy down there. As you can see, Casadei with the number 3 and Eric Granado with the number 1. Just to go back to the championship very quickly, if I can, Matteo Ferrari is in 5th place now on 112. He was staring down the barrel, Neil, of being tied with Balda at the top. So just how much it can change in MotoE. Granado is tied with Mantovani. Neil, we have 7 riders covered by 23 points. More on that later. Down to Parc Ferme, Elliot York has found Mattia Casadei, P3.
Mattia, after the race 1 crash, that felt like a huge podium for you, and you still keep the championship lead ahead of Mazzano. Talk us through that race and, of course, the battle with Baldassarri as well.
Yeah, in race 2 I was a little bit lucky, and I'm happy for this. This morning I was unlucky, and for made a good result sometimes the the lucky help, and today helped me, and I'm happy for this. I want to say thank to the team because they do a new bike, and nothing. I enjoy this week, and now we are very happy to go in Misano.
Enjoy it. See you in Misano.
Thank you.
Point well made there by Mattia Casadei. He absolutely vaulted that bike at the fence earlier. Good rebuild job by the team. Comes away with P3. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it certainly could, and he comes away with the joint championship lead, which when he was trying to pick his bike off the barrier on the edge of the last turn of the track, you would have said he would have taken that for sure. But a brilliant day for Nicola Spinelli. 2 top 5 finishes, a second in race 2, and he's with Elliott in Parc Fermé.
Nicholas, what a start that was to go from the third row to the front, end up in P2, a brilliant podium. How are you feeling?
Sorry. No, great job with the team. I start just in the first corner. I brake hard for take a premier first place, and I want to do my pass, but there is a battle, and my grip on the front is not totally well. But I improved the bike, and I enjoy, and I take the podium. I'm very happy for the team because it's a great job.
Great job, well done.
Thank you.
In any other race, Neil, Nicola Spinelli's starts would have been the highlight. 7th to 1st, comes away with P2 and another podium.
Yeah, and from nowhere, he is actually in the championship hunt as well. 4th place in the championship and just 18 points back off the summit. He's quietly gone about his business this year as Spinelli, and could we see a late surprise from him?
We really could see a rider take this title without taking a victory, and that leads us nicely on. Eric Granado, pole, race 1, race 2, and now he's in title contention.
Eric, the perfect weekend here in Barcelona. Just sum up your emotions. Of course, emotional after race 1. You must be super happy after race 2, and now you're back in the championship fight again.
Yes, I can't believe it. You know, pole position, 2 wins. It's amazing. You know, like I said in the race 1, after all the last months, I couldn't imagine I could come back like this and do 4 podiums, pole position, win 2 races. So I'm so happy. I just have to thank everyone, all my team, all the people with me, and my family. It's amazing. I'm very, very happy. Really looking forward to the next one. It's a race on home race for my team, so I would do my best there again. And about the championship, let's see in the future. I just want to enjoy like I did today, do my best. Now I'm feeling so good. I am on the best performance this season, so I hope I can continue this line going up and enjoy the moment now. The race 1, I was happy, but I was already thinking on the race 2. Now I can enjoy and have a good party with the people here and prepare for the next one. And as always, em português, estou muito feliz. Ainda não estou conseguindo acreditar, né, que eu voltei depois de tanta dificuldade. Pole position, 2 vitórias, 4 pódios. Eu estou me sentindo melhor a cada corrida e isso me dá muita confiança. Estou muito feliz. Só posso agradecer a toda a minha equipe, a minha família, todos que estão ao meu lado, porque não foi nada fácil, mas eu me sinto melhor a cada prova. Espero que essa linha continue crescendo e eu me sinta cada vez mais confiante com a moto, com a equipe e possa ter muito sucesso até o final do ano. É isso aí, obrigado pela torcida, tamo junto, valeu.
Congratulations.
Valeu.
I've got to say, Neil, we might be working tomorrow, but if there's an Eric Granado party happening in downtown Barcelona, I'll tell you what, I might well just tag along to it. What a Saturday, a super Saturday for the 51.
Yeah, you'll be dancing the samba on the beach down in Barcelona at sunrise. Kiko, I can just picture it.
Well, I was doing it last night, so why should tonight be any different? Let's all go on a lovely little night out, shall we? I'll tell you what, we'll be coming up with better moves than that, though. Eric Granado, he just loves it, doesn't he? I've got to say, Eric Granado, 6th now, tied on points with Andrea Mantovani, 23 back. This is game on. 100 are up for grabs, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going racing once again next weekend in Misano. They're coming thick and fast. We've had 3 MotoE rounds in the last 4 weeks. We're going to have a 4th in 5 weeks next time around, and then we have a little chance to catch our breath before the season curtails at Portimao, in Portimao in November. And you have to imagine we'll be going to Portugal with what, 4 or 5 names potentially in the hunt for the championship. I mean, what is not to love?
I must say, for reasons of professionalism, I was not dancing the night away down at Barceloneta Beach yesterday. It was actually in the main square, Plaza Catalunya. I was doing that at sunrise this morning, waiting for Elliot York to give us a lift in, like you were, Neil, I'm sure. But we look, and back to a serious note, Eric Granado, what a comeback. But it's a totally different season to how we all imagined it to be. Granado's had to fight back through injury. You look through all the names. Balda's a rookie and his joint championship leader. Matteo Ferrari's been up and down, quite like his race just then. He's now 5th in the title. Andrea Mantovani hit form early. He's still in with a shout. Nicola Spinelli's come good over the last 3 rounds and is now there or thereabouts. Mattia Casadei given away more points than he possibly could have, and still is your joint championship leader. And Eric Granado is charging on hard now, and that's before we go further back down. There's still 100 points up for grabs. There's still other riders that can have a very big say. I think that must have been the first race all year we've not mentioned the number 1, the reigning champion, Hector Garza.
Yeah, exactly. And not really easy to tell. Just when you think the championship is going in one direction, one of the leading names makes a bit of a mistake and crashes out. It was Casadei in race 1, it was Matteo Ferrari in race 2, and that has given a real opportunity to the likes of Spinelli and Granado to come back into the picture.
We wait for the podium ceremony, and what a journey it has been this weekend in MotoE. Where to start to unpack it all? Mattia Casadei, well, he's leaving with 16 points at least. It's 16 more than what he had this morning earlier on in race 1. If you missed any of it, please do watch it back on YouTube or wherever you do get your MotoE content, and don't forget to like, subscribe and follow us all across the social media platforms. 2nd place for Nicolas Spinelli, a fine result for the number 29. Returns to the rostrum once again, just like he did back in Hungary, and it is another win, a 2nd win of the day, of the season for Eric Granado, who is charging on hard. We're going to get the Brazilian national anthem, of course, for your race winner, and this one is going to sound even better. Lovely national anthem for Eric Granado to enjoy, and this is going to be some podium celebration. And as he said down to Elliot York in Parc Ferme, there's going to be some party tonight, I'm sure. There could be some sore heads going back into the track tomorrow. Thankfully, MotoE action is done now in Tormozano, but Neil, we've got a few days to get our voices back and gather our thoughts. Some big takeaways here from Barcelona.
Yeah, and the big takeaway is you just never know what is going to happen next in MotoE. I think that is the main thing I can say. I came into this weekend thinking it was Casadei's to lose. He crashes out in race 1, and suddenly you have a couple of other names coming back into the championship picture.
What about it? Eric Granado of Brazil leads home 3 Italians, Spinelli, Casadei and Zanoni, and look at that in 5th. A best result for a Romanian rider in MotoE. Jacopo Hosjuk, take your hat off to the number 12. Balda's penalty puts him 6th, just ahead of teammate Hector Garza. All the way down, look at the names. Matteo Ferrari, a disaster, crashing out of 2nd down at turn 10. Jordi Torres was out at turn 5. Varga and Mantovani not even making it through the 2nd sector on the opening lap. The rider standings, Casadei and Balda tied for points on 132. As we said, it's still the top 5 full of Italians, but there's a Brazilian on the charge. The 51 of Eric Granado is now within a race win's worth of points. 23 split the top 7, and Hector Garzo is only 40 back in 8th place. So you just never know in MotoE in 2025. The LCR-E team are on top again. They swap places with the Dynavolt Intact GP squad. 17 points the difference at the top of the team standings. The Power Electronics Aspar team, they stay 3rd and are starting to fall further back. But it's the LCR-E team that are on top. 241 points, and there's still 100 more up for grabs. And well, let's all go for a lie down, and for my case, I think I'll take it in the medical centre and get me breath back there. Thank you so much for watching MotoE, not just in this round, but in 2025 overall. We are going to leave you with the highlights, and there's a lot of them in race 2. Here from Barcelona, we'll see you next week at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli to do it all over again. For myself, Kiko Giles, and Neil Morrison alongside me, Elliot York in pit lane. We'll be back bringing the action next time out. Goodbye.